Today we're going to be solving proportions. As you learned in the previous class lesson, a proportion is two equivalent ratios. So if we know that the two ratios are equivalent, we can solve for a missing piece in one of the ratios. We do that by using the cross products property or cross multiplication. The purpose of showing the work the way I'm going to show you is to utilize what we've learned in previous units, specifically solving equations to solve a proportion. So it is imperative that you're showing your work the way that I model it as I go through the notes to solve proportions. So the first thing we're going to do is solve number 1 for y, and we're going to do that by using the cross products property. We're going to multiply our means and our extremes. It doesn't matter necessarily which order you go in, but if you go bottom to top, left to right, and you just stay consistent, you'll never multiply the wrong numbers. So for number 1, 21 times 1, we're going to set that equal to 3 times y. Now we're going to solve the one-step equation for y. We get 21 equals 3y. We're going to divide both sides by 3, and we get y equals 7. All right, number 2, we're going to cross multiply from the bottom to top. 6 times 4 equals 8 times x. 6 times 4 is 24. 8 times x is 8x. One-step equation. We're going to divide both sides by 8. And you get x equals 3. Number 3, we're going to do the same thing. 24 times 15 equals 9 times b. You may use a calculator here for the multiplication. Just write out, like I did, what I was multiplying. So you can use the calculator for 24 times 15, but I want you to write out the step where you actually write that you're multiplying the two numbers. You get 360 equals 9 times b. Divide both sides by 9, and you get 40 for b. At any time, you can pause, stop, rewind, so that you can keep up with taking the notes. Number 4, we're going to do the same thing. 4 times 9 equals r times 15. So 4 times 9 would be 36. R times 15 would be 15r. We're going to divide both sides by 15. And again, I'm okay with you using a calculator, or you'd have a mixed number here. We can do these as decimals. This would be 2 4/10. So 2.4. All right, we're going to do the same process. If you'd like to try 5 through 8 by yourself, hit stop, try them, and then hit play and watch me do them and check your work. I will keep going, but you can feel free to stop and try to challenge yourself and do it on your own and then see if you did them correctly. I'm going to start with number 5. I'm going to multiply m times 10 and 9 times 15. I get 10m equals 9 times 15 is 135. I'm going to divide both sides by 10, and I get m equals 13.5. Number 6, I'm going to do the same thing from the bottom to the top. 60 times 3 equals x times 5. 60 times 3 is 180. 5 times x is 5x. You're going to divide both sides by 5, and you get x equals 36. Number 7, bottom to top, I'm going to multiply 8 times 7.5, and I'm going to multiply 20 times y. 8 times 7.5 is 60. 20 times y is 20y. I'm going to divide both sides by 20, and y should equal 3. All right, I'm running out of a little bit of room here, so I'm going to go over and show you number 8. Let's do this, make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so we have 3.5, times 5 equals 2.5 times r. So 3.5 times 5 is 17.5. 2.5 times r is 2.5 r. I'm going to divide both sides by 2.5. And when we do that, we get 7. All right. As we get into 9 through 12, these are a little bit more complicated, a little bit more complex. Some of them involve the distributive property, some of them involve a coefficient. Remember, a coefficient's a number in front of a variable. We treat them the same way. We're still going to use cross multiplication. We just may have more complicated equations. They might not just be one step, they might be two step. All right, so we're going to treat them the exact same way. Looking at number 9, I'm going to start with 36 times 45 and 12 times 15a. So this one has a coefficient with the variable. So you're definitely going to want to have a calculator for these because some of these get into bigger numbers. So we have 36 times 45, which is 1,620. We have 12 times 15a, so you multiply your coefficients and just tack on your variable. So we have 180a. We're going to divide both sides by 180, and that'll get us a solution for a. We get 9. If you look carefully at number 10, we have 4 equals 20 over 9, negative 9w. Anytime you have a whole number, remember, whole numbers are always over 1, even if it's not written. So we can make a fraction where there wasn't a fraction there. Then we can cross multiply. We can do 1 times 20 equals negative 9w times 4. So we get 20. Multiply your coefficient of w and 4, so negative 36w. We can divide both sides by negative 36. And we're going to get a decimal here, or if you want to reduce the fraction to lowest terms, it'll be negative 0.5 repeating. Okay, 11 and 12 are going to require distributive property. So we might need a little bit extra room for those. I'm going to go on to, let's see if I can fit them here and keep them in the video. All right, so I'm going to do number 11 in red so that you can see it. We have 4 times 3, and then we have 2 times the entire quantity x minus 5. So make sure you put that x minus 5 in parentheses because you need to distribute and you're going to need to multiply the 2 times the x and the negative 5. So that's the first thing I'm going to do here. I'm going to distribute. I get 2x minus 10. Now I have a two-step equation that I need to solve. When we have two-step equations, again, we undo addition or subtraction first. So we're going to add 10 to both sides. We get 22 equals 2x. We're going to divide both sides by 2, and that gets us x equals 11. All right, one last question here, and I'm going to try to fit this in. What I'm going to do is make this smaller and see if this works. The last one I'm going to do in green, okay, number 12. I'm going to treat it the exact same way. So I have z plus 1. I'm putting it in parentheses because that entire quantity needs to be multiplied by 15. Then I have 6 times 40. You can rewrite this so that you don't get confused, so that you know you're distributing the 15 to the z plus 1. Since I went from the bottom to top, it may have looked a little confusing there. Now I'm going to distribute the 15. So I get 15 times z, which is 15z, and 15 times 1, which is 15. I have a two-step equation. I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. That gets me 15z equals 240 minus 15, which is 225. And I'm going to divide by 15 on both sides to get z equals 15. All right, your assignment is to make sure that you submit all 12 of those examples with the work in the appropriate note submission slot, and we will practice solving proportions on Monday in class.